please. Welcome to the Wareham Planning Board meeting of Monday, December 9th, 2024, in the Multi-Service Center, room 520, and being broadcast on Wareham Media. I'll call the meeting to order with a roll call, starting to my left.
Baptiste here.
Jane Gleason here.
Julie Moran here.
Sam Colby here.
And the chair, Carl Schultz, is here. Hearing a quorum, I'll call the meeting to order. There's going to be a couple of changes to the agenda tonight. I saw some last-minute email exchanges. So first, we do not have the minutes from 12:25 for review, so I will defer that to our next meeting.
Minutes of 11:25, correct?
What did I say?
You said 12:25.
11:25. I said 1960 last year, so. So yes, so those, we'll deal with those minutes at the next meeting. In addition, I saw a last-minute email from the applicant for Bay Point, somewhat frustrated that it didn't come in until after noon, but he will not be here this evening, so we will not take up as-built plans for Phase 1 of Windward Pines, and we will find a time to reschedule that. So those two items are off the agenda. The first item for schedule is out of cycle. Is Mr. Shanahan on Zoom?
I do not see him. Good.
Okay, so we put Fearing Hill on the agenda at the last minute. This is not a public hearing. This is not a regularly scheduled discussion of Fearing Hill. I put it on with the intent of discussing with the applicant the issue that has arisen because town meeting was scheduled for the night of the continued hearing, January 13th. Therefore, we would not have been able to hold a public hearing effectively that evening. Unfortunately, if he's not here, we can't discuss changing that date. So we will hold a public hearing on January 13th, and I can't deal with the fact that it conflicts with town meeting. It was a posted, scheduled public hearing, so we will have a meeting on the 13th. I don't know what we'll discuss. Perhaps we can continue it, perhaps not. So the next meeting on Fearing Hill, as long as Mr. Shanahan is still not there, so we will have a public hearing, which was scheduled, duly noticed, on January 13th. Mr. Buckland, do you have any comment?
Yes, you can hold the public hearing before town meeting at 5:30, say, and just process the action to a later date.
Yeah, where are we going to have that? We'll have to work out the logistics of
Typically
that.
what happens is it occurs in one of the rooms at the school.
I know what typically happens. That's not how you do public hearings. So we'll work out the logistics. I think it was unfortunate that we weren't notified that that was happening. All right, so moving on from Fearing Hill. The first item of the evening will be 2023 Warren QOZB LLC, modification to site plan review, 59 Main Street, discussion vote. I see Mr. Madden, are you here for that item tonight?
Yes.
Please come forward. Introduce yourself and raise your right hand.
Oh, yeah, okay, I'll do that first.
Yeah.
So he's closed.
Bill Madden from GAF Engineering.
Do you swear to tell the whole truth, the complete truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Thanks. I have two full-size copies of the as-built, two full-size copies of the landscape plan.
Okay,
And
so,
then I have half sizes of each.
so Patty, for the record, show that Mr. Madden provided as-built plan. What's the date on the plan so I can refer to it, Bill?
Today, 12/9,
12/9,
revised through 12/9.
revised through 12/9, and we have a landscape plan also revised through 12/9?
I'd have to check that. We didn't prepare that plan. 12/6.
12/6? Okay, so the landscape plan is revised through 12/6.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
10/16,
Oh, is that what it says?
Yeah, 1016 on the
10/16/24.
planning plan. Landscape.
All right, so the landscape plan is revised through 10/16. So that's not the latest as-built landscape plan, because,
We had one later.
That was the latest as far as I know, that was the latest landscape.
who's the engineer from ASAP who was here with Danny last week? He presented later plans.
Okay, then, I asked the guys in the office to print the most recent one that we had emailed to us, and that was the one that we had.
All right,
So
so
if I need to provide you with another,
I think what we have from last week,
will suffice.
we'll reconcile all the plans. I think we're going to be able to take care of all of this evening.
Okay.
And also for the record, we will be referencing a final report from the town engineer, Mr. Cordiero, with his recommendations. Did you get a copy of Phil's?
I did not.
Okay. Josh, do you have the date on that, and can we forward that to Mr.
December
Madden?
6th.
December 6th, yeah.
Will do.
So, this has been a long and arduous journey, but I think we're coming close to a close. So, Mr. Madden.
Okay. As far as I know, the only thing that needed to be added to the plans based on the last meeting were the 2 stop signs at the entrance exits to the facility, at the driveway entrances.
Yeah, they were not complete when Mr. Cordero was last out there.
They were complete as of today.
Yeah, okay,
I
yeah.
saw one today, and they were in the process of installing the second one,
Okay.
Okay.
and was told that they would be done by the end of the day.
Okay, and then the only other thing that Mr. Cordero brought was the binding course that he was unable to inspect. But his recommendation is that's entirely the applicant's problem. It doesn't flow into the public way, and he recommended that we should just, how did he say we should condition it?
The truck slips is what he's looking for.
Yeah.
Yeah, which are,
Oh, he was looking for the tonnage to try to
Oh,
relate.
Phil's here. Good evening, Phil. We're discussing your December 6th letter on, if you would just state your name, raise your hand, and swear to tell the truth, nothing but the truth.
Certainly. Phil Cordero, Allen and Major Associates, swear to tell the truth, the whole truth.
Thank you.
Forgive me, I'm late. I'm not sure where I walked in on.
Yes. No, Mr. Madden was just stating that as of today, the 2 stop signs that you referenced were installed.
Yes.
And then we were talking about the binding course and the truck slips. So if you want to make a comment on that.
Very, very quickly, we did receive the updated as-built confirming that the 2 signs that I referenced in my letter from last week were installed in compliance with the plan, so we're good there. We just had the oversight when the parking lot was paved. It was done without inspection. So we wanted to find a mechanism for the owner to complete the project and just verify that the information was down. So we were asking about the truck slips as a method of verifying the quantity. Those were never received. And don't read into that, board, there's no comment on the quality of the paving or the anticipated longevity. Everything looks fine, but it was a mechanism to cover the gap of the area that wasn't observed during
Okay.
construction.
Now, I'm not going to press for this. In the past, when we've had this problem with paving that happens without inspection, we typically ask for core borings. Do you think that's required in this case?
So we typically would ask for the core borings on binder, because the effect of that coring is then covered by the wearing course on top, and there's no noticeable defect. In this case, we're actually talking about the wearing course, so the actual top surface. So we didn't recommend getting any corings, otherwise they would have a pock mark on top of their newly finished surface, which certainly isn't something we would want to
Okay.
do for the applicant.
Great. And as I read your report, your statement was, while it's not ideal, it's entirely within the applicant's property, does not affect the public way in that sense. so we could probably let that pass.
Right, so the board can act however they see fit. Our recommendation to you is it is entirely public property. The town would not, private property. The town would not be made responsible for this as they would for a subdivision roadway. I would certainly want to be consistent in our messaging to other applicants that it's important information that should be obtained during construction. But in this case, should you decide to move forward on the release and close out the project, there's certainly minimal risk in doing so, in my opinion.
Mr. Madden, do you have a comment in response to that?
No, I agree with Phil's position on it.
Of course.
No, I mean, it's what it,
We're all in
we're
a
left
good,
with an analyzing, really, and,
it's the holiday season.
but it looked pretty good when they were putting it down, and of course,
Okay,
both of the courses, at least that I saw. I didn't measure either one, but
okay.
was there when they were paving each time.
Any more input from either of our engineers at this point? Otherwise, we'll have discussion, let the board ask questions. All right, so we'll move into discussion. Mike, any questions, comments?
Yeah, well, this is the old landscaping plan, and on the as-built on the top, I see the convex pad is gone.
Connex box, yes.
The pad is gone, too.
Oh, the pad, I didn't think we had the pad there. We think we had it designed for the pad. Is that what you're referring to?
Okay,
Yeah.
it was never put in.
No.
Okay.
I'm good. Jane Gleason, I'm,
Pretty sure it was never put in.
You know, the box was there.
The box was, the Connex box was never on the site that I saw.
Oh, I thought it was actually physically there. I'm sorry.
no, I think it was actually down the road at the, what used to be Precision.
Oh, okay. It wasn't actually moved to the site.
I never saw it on the site.
Okay,
I think it was at the site.
That was my recollection as well. Excuse me.
okay. Sam, Jane?
I'm good.
Okay, so I think we have a couple of actions tonight that we can take. I think the first action we can do is on the bond and the landscaping plan. Mr. Kader, you're satisfied, I think we've seen and we've discussed that the landscaping is complete within acceptable parameters to...
Yes,
to meet.
Mr. Chair, based on the premise that the original landscaping plan was not installed, they provided the modified plan that this board took action upon. What's installed out there today is based on the modified plan, and we have no issue with it. We reviewed all the quantities and species.
Okay, so I would be looking for a motion to accept the landscape plan and the landscaping as built.
So moved.
Motion by Sam Corbett, a second.
Second.
A second by Jane Gleason. All in favor, then, we would accept the landscaping plan as built.
Mike Baptiste, aye.
Jane Gleason, aye.
Julie Moran, aye.
Sam Corbett, aye.
And the chair votes aye, so that's 5-0-0. So we've accepted the landscape plan. Mr. Warren, the applicant, put up a bond for the landscape plan. That bond is being held by the town. This board cannot release that bond. However, it is our position to make a recommendation to the select board to either release the bond or not release the bond. I would be looking for a motion to release the bond posted by the applicant for the landscaping.
It's cash.
Yeah, whatever, okay, fine.
But it's cash.
It is a cash bond.
They found the
Okay,
check.
I recommend we go to the board of selectmen and recommend that they return the cash.
Second.
Sam, where did the check finally show up?
The check was cashed and deposited, yes.
Okay.
That was not an issue with the applicant, I want to be clear. That was not an applicant issue, that was a processing issue in the office or in the town. Right.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Sam Corbett, a second by Julie Moran. All in favor?
Mike Baptiste, aye.
Jane Gleason, aye.
Julie Moran, aye.
Sam Corbett, aye.
And the chair votes aye. So if we could direct the clerk to send a letter to the select board to that effect, they can then take action at their next meeting or whenever they put it on their agenda. Now, I think, Ken, we now have an open permit on this. Is it now the appropriate action? we need to take action on the permit. Have we decided at this point, did we make the decision this was a minor modification? And we did that at the last meeting. We determined it was any and all changes represented minor modifications. So what is our action to close this plan out?
It's to approve the site plan review.
As built.
As built, yeah.
Which side?
Okay, any discussion on that? Okay, so I would look for a motion to approve the as-built plan for 2023, or as-built plan for the site plan review for 2023 Warren QOZB LLC, 59 Main Street.
So moved.
A motion by Sam Corbett,
Second?
second by Julie Moran. All in favor?
Baptiste, aye.
Jane Gleason, aye.
Sam Corbett, aye.
Julie Moran, aye.
And the chair votes aye. So I think, Ken, that's it for this site plan at this point. Is that
Shake
correct?
things up sometimes.
That's correct. You've released the bond and you've approved the permit, the entitlement, so that's good to go.
Okay, and then if Mr. Warren wants to come back for future changes, we'd love to see him again. That's for the future. That's just a comment. So nothing else. Thank you. Mr. Warren, I see you in the audience. Thank you for coming. Mr. Madden, thank you.
Okay.
And Mr. Cudero, as always, thank you.
Best of luck getting out of the building.
All right.
Thanks very much.
Great, thank you.
Bill.
All right, we will not be taking up Bay Point, as I said. While there's a spot, Ken, is there anything you want to say on the exchange? It's not a public hearing, so I want to limit our discussion on Bay Point. There's nothing to be said at this point, right? That will all be discussed on the
there's
13th.
nothing on that at this point until we resolved phase one.
Okay, great. Thank you. All right, the first item is there are 2 last-minute public hearings that need to be scheduled. The first one is on the accessory dwelling unit, and there's a proposed amendment to the zoning bylaw. Amendments to the zoning bylaw require the planning board to hold public hearings. So, Mr. Buckland, do you want to report? I don't know when we're going to schedule this public hearing.
You have to schedule the public hearing before the town meeting, since you're reporting at town meeting on the results of that public hearing.
Okay.
And we need at least 3 weeks to prep ahead of time to publish the notice in the paper. And we're dealing with multiple zoning bylaw amendments in this case.
Right, I would assume we'll talk about the solar one as well, right? What other ones are we dealing with?
Well, there's 2 for the accessory dwelling unit bylaw.
All right, which the board has not seen yet, as far as I know.
No, they haven't.
Okay, so when do you propose holding this public hearing?
The beginning of January. I believe it's the 6th.
The first
January
Monday
6th.
is the 6th, yes. Okay,
That would be the time I'd recommend the public hearing.
okay.
That would give you enough time to make further action if you needed to, before town meeting.
Okay, I will be unavailable on the 6th.
That's after the warrant closes.
No, I don't, it's after the warrant closes, Ken, is that?
That's fine, because we can I'll put the articles into play before the selectmen, and hopefully they adopt them into the town meeting warrant. And then you'll hold the hearing later on. Your hearing is separate action from the making of the warrant.
All right, so we don't have warrant numbers yet, so I can't reference them, right? So I'm looking for a motion to schedule a public hearing on January 6th.
Presumably only for that purpose. Or is it going to be,
For public hearings for zoning, because there's other zoning bylaws.
correct?
Okay,
Yep, exactly. So that is what the focus of that meeting will be.
right. So a motion to schedule a public hearing advertise and schedule a public hearing for discussion of zoning bylaws, however many there are, Mr. Buckland says at least 2 at this point, regarding accessory
3,
dwelling
actually.
units.
For January 6th.
Actually, one is a moratorium on the accessory dwelling bylaw, the other, accessory dwellings, the other is a bylaw for accessory dwellings, and then there's the location of solar farms.
Which I was going to deal with in another agenda item, but okay. All right, so there will be 3 zoning bylaws, so,
For January 6th, 2025. Is
correct,
that correct?
correct.
So moved.
Second?
Have a motion by Mr. Corbett, a second by Ms. Moran. All in favor?
Mike Baptiste, aye.
Jane Gleason, aye.
Julie Moran, aye.
Sam Corbett, aye.
And the chair votes aye. Mr. Buckland, please take this as a request for the planning office to take action to duly notice this public hearing, and we'll have to work to get a room and a place. And John, if you could take note for Wareham Media, let us know that you would be available for that meeting. Okay. The next item on the agenda, Josh, related to a proposed zoning district for solar installations, I believe you want to make a presentation?
I would.
And then we will then also do that again at the public hearing, I would expect, right?
Yes.
So this will be included in the public hearing for January 6th.
So we have 3, okay.
Give me a moment to share my screen.
So you will have to chair that meeting.
My favorite thing to do.
Huh?
My favorite thing to do.
If you wouldn't mind.
I'm getting surgery that day, so I will not be here.
No, you're not, yeah.
Okay, so what we have here, John's gonna grab the light for us. Thank you, John. What we have here is the town of Wareham outlined in green. And what I'm gonna do tonight is add a few layers that I've thrown together to give you an idea of, what we could possibly be looking at. The first thing I will throw on is a list of solar fields I found that are built via aerial images only. So I didn't go through what you guys had approved or anything like that. I only looked at the aerial images. And I've identified all the areas here outlined in red as built solar farms as of today. Well, as of September 11th of 2024. I don't think there are any new ones constructed as of today. So as you can see, they're pretty much widely spread over the town. And what the goal of this zoning district would be is to find an ideal place to locate them. So a few things that the Director of Planning and I had discussed were just looking at the business development overlay district and allowing them to be zoned within that district. As you can see, there's quite a few already located in that zone. And then another, I guess maybe in fear that this zone is a little too small and that it might not be approved by the Attorney General or received well, we created an expanded solar district that has a little bit more area, and it encompasses another solar field that's already established.
What is the eastbound, is that Tohonet Road?
Part of it is.
This here,
No, the westbound, then, I got,
this one here,
no, keep going.
this one here.
Yes, that
Oh,
one.
sorry, let me zoom in a little bit.
I can't see the compass rose, so
Map is due north.
so east, so it would have been the eastern boundary of.
You're correct.
Yeah.
So again, this lighter shade of yellow is the BDOD district that's already established. And I think if I zoom in one more layer, it will give us the name of that road, Charge Pond Road.
Charge Pond, okay, one over from, okay.
Okay. So I'll zoom out again. And another layer I wanted to show you is the cranberry bogs that are associated within this zoning district. potential zoning district. So you can see it covers a vast, I would say almost a majority of the proposed district. And Mr. Baptiste at a previous meeting had mentioned, why don't we put the solar on top of cranberry bogs? It's not an outlandish or absurd idea. It is something that is being explored by cranberry growers. And actually, there is a solar field in Carver, just to the north of us. And I outlined that. Oh, sorry, I don't have the layer on. There is a solar field in Carver, here in blue, that is doing that exact thing. That's off of 58. I believe they have all the mounting poles in, and maybe even some of the panels as of now. Mass DEP has given guidance on what would be good solar practice over cranberry bogs. One of the things that they mention is the bogs have to remain active. They give guidance on the height restriction on where the solar panels should be. So, if it's determined that solar and cranberry are a compatible dual use, it's likely that these bogs could turn into solar fields anyway. So these are kind of what we had in mind for potential zoning districts. Are there any questions from the board?
Yeah, Josh, on the business development district, would there be possibilities to place solar panels on top of buildings versus
I think
solar
that's always a
farms?
possibility.
Where, as of right,
Yeah,
Yeah,
roof-mounted solar is generally as of right in
Right.
town.
yeah.
so that would be something to encourage, to use the buildings.
I mean, I don't think anyone in the board or the town would be opposed to seeing solar on rooftops anywhere.
Yes,
It wouldn't come to the board anyway.
Right.
so.
no, right.
Question, so the eastern boundary on Charge Pond Road is west of the wellhead protection zone,
Correct. This does not fall within the wellhead protection zone.
which is important.
Yeah, and before we definitively work off of this map, I would like to reach out to the Wareham and onset water districts just to make sure they don't have any future proposed ideas of expanding those wellheads.
Josh, have you superimposed environmental justice?
I have not. That is something I can do for the next hearing.
Okay.
Or I'll even get you that information before our next
Just
hearing.
environmental justice communities where they're located, relative to this proposal.
So this may be a stupid question, but are there any current zoning districts in town where solar is not allowed? Like, could we do an overlay layer that shows the districts in town where solar is allowed currently?
I don't believe there are any restrictions on solar anywhere in town.
So it's a moot question.
Depending on what you mean by solar. Large-scale ground, so this would be a large-scale ground-mounted. So large-scale ground-mounted is not allowed in any district in
Okay,
town.
it's, right, it's all
It's
special
all by
permit.
special permit.
Yeah,
Right.
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 Okay. All of it's by special permit, none of it's as of right.
I do not believe there are any as-of-right
Okay.
zones. I don't have the zoning bylaws. If there are, they're very small. There aren't any, just, I
Yeah,
don't believe there
They're
are.
all by special permit.
Yes, the use says.
Maybe we need to petition the state to provide financial incentive to put solar on building roofs,
Yes.
or over parking, or,
All of which is as-of-right in town.
right, but I think if there were financial incentives and disincentives for putting it where they're gonna clear cut, particularly, would make sense. A little bit of guidance of what's acceptable. And I get the difficulties with putting it on buildings, but over parking. And
Yeah.
the difficulty with putting it on buildings is that it restricts any change of use, not, and I don't say change of use like a big
Zoning use, just
zoning,
generally.
but generally speaking, any changes that the building owner wants to make. And it's a 25-year period, which is actually a long time for like a big box to have a building
Yeah.
stuck and it can't, and it's supporting a solar array. But I think putting it over parking is kind of a no-brainer. But providing incentive to do that, I
Well,
think
there are
would-
significant issues with putting it over parking, but,
not as significant as putting over,
oh, I'm just saying, there-
Long-term.
you said it's a no-brainer, but you lose parking spaces, so we have to look at the impact to zoning for lost parking spaces. Snow plowing becomes an issue. There are issues.
they seem minimal in my mind.
If they were minimal, I would think that people would be running out to do it.
Except it's a cooperation thing between the solar
Right.
and the building owner.
I'm not, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be argumentative.
Yeah.
Oh, we have a question from a citizen.
Actually, as I'm the select board liaison, and in that capacity, I have a question and a comment, if I may approach.
Sure.
Okay.
Please note, this is not a public hearing, so this is just,
Understand. So, to answer Jane's question,
identify yourself, please.
my name is Sherry Quirk, I'm a member of the select board in town. To answer Jane's question, I think the new energy siting bill for renewable resources has additional incentives for rooftop and canopy solar, and so there may be some help there, as well as there is in process changes to the payments for large ground-mounted solar that are intended to disincentivize deforestation. The question will be whether that is done effectively or as effectively as this town may wish. But I wanted to ask another question for Josh, which is with the new siting bill, which we're all still reading and digesting, I wonder if it is effective to seek to restrict solar to certain areas of town, which I know many towns have done, and have therefore been able to limit it. But with the new energy siting bill that essentially takes siting out of the hands of the town and puts it in the state's hands, will this kind of limitation be permitted? Or are we looking at an interim period between now and when the bill is in effect?
It's a great question. My response would have to be doing nothing right now makes no sense in case there is amendments to that legislation that kind of keep it in our court. Getting this in place covers us instead of, us scrambling and realizing that we could have had it in place and did nothing. So I think moving forward with this, regardless, if it becomes a moot point in the future, well, then it's a moot point. But if this is our chance to really limit it, let's move forward with it.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Other questions? I have a question for Josh. Why did we carve out that section between the two areas?
It's already single-family residence in there. Again, we could re-add it, but it's a
I didn't know,
subdivision
there
that
was
you
a,
had-
it's just all single-family homes.
Yeah, it's a subdivision that you guys had already approved. I think it's Crane Landing.
It's already built out.
We could pull it back up to the border, I didn't see it as one way
I
or
just
the
asked
other.
why, that was a perfectly reasonable answer. Where was the North Carver Solar Project being proposed by the state, the 50-acre project?
That's a great question. I believe it was, it's off of Tyhonet.
I thought, yeah, so it's going to be...
So it might be covered in this area already. I'd
That
have
would
to,
be a question to just know the answer to, I think.
Yeah,
It's
I'll
on the
take-
Plymouth border. Shouldn't it be the top
I think, yeah,
eastern?
let's see.
I don't know, yeah, if it's further east, that's why I was asking.
No, I think it's,
Further west.
But you said Tyhonet Road?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
we
think
went
it
out.
may already be covered, but I will look into that to make sure. that that's an accurate statement.
Okay, and then the pending projects, the two New Leaf projects which were denied are covered in this zone. The Fearing Hill project, which would not be subject to this, is outside of this zone. And 370, which is being appealed, is outside of this zone. So those are the only projects that are, oh, and 0 Route 25 is outside this zone, which is also being appealed.
So these are the two that you just referenced, Faring Hill and County Road.
Right.
I haven't brought in those other three that you just mentioned yet,
Well, New Leaf is in the
in the area already.
blue area, I believe.
And I think 0 Route 25 might just
Right
be
there.
outside of the area.
Just across the street there, yep.
Yeah. If this is,
Yeah, there it is.
this is, yeah,
That's
This
municipal
area here.
maintenance right there.
Yep,
That's
there.
saying- and
That's
then
sure
the-
Corinne.
It's closer to 25.
To the
Yeah,
green.
It's this area that's
Oh, my.
already been
it's that
cleared.
And then down toward 25,
Yeah.
right in there.
That
Right
blue
there.
hill there, yes.
Yep.
Okay.
Is that cleared area with the building in it is municipal maintenance.
Correct.
right
That's the
there.
municipal garage.
Correct.
Yeah, sure, Corinne's right in that corner, right in that garage.
Okay. All right, so we've scheduled your public hearing for January 6th. And you can work with your colleagues in the planning office to get it noticed.
Of course.
Ms. Gleason will chair that meeting, and I will not be there. Will we have a quorum for that night?
Sam, will you be here on the 6th?
At this time, yes.
Will you be there on the 6th?
I'm supposed to go on a cruise, but I suppose I could be here. Yeah, I'll be here.
All right. So Ken, it looks like we can have a quorum on the 6th. All right, hearing no more discussion, I think we can move off of this agenda item. You don't have anything else, right, Josh? Upcoming, you're not showing any, the only thing pending on the agenda is Fearing Hill, which we will meet on the 13th. Water Whiz, there's not been a determination on that, is that correct?
Not yet.
Okay. I'm still working on the calendar for next year. Next item, Mr. Corbett, you have a report on the 53G account status?
Yes, I've got a lot of it done, but I need to get some answers from council and the planning board. I've got, some of the things I've done apparently may not be legal. We have 8 parcels, or 8 projects that total under $9.20, one of them being a dime. My idea was to just write off anything below $20, but we can't do that. Properties that are already taken off, properties with zero balance. I just need to get the planning office to approve what I've done.
Okay.
I'll try to get with Josh.
Yeah, if you have a copy you want to share with me.
Okay, I'll send it to you.
All right, so we will probably not, we won't do that on the 6th. We won't discuss it on the 13th. I think the only agenda item for the 13th will be dealing with Fearing Hill, unless some other emergency item comes up. So the 27th, we'll take this up again. Under the 48-hour rule, a question for the planning office, we have a request from Tony's Lane for an inspection. We need to, have you been notified, Mr. Cordero? Okay, so you're all set with that? Yes. Okay. Has the applicant been notified that it's scheduled?
That's normally something that's just handled through Phil's office, so.
Okay, well, we have to request him, so the request came to us. I was included on the request, so I'm trying to make sure the loop is closed.
Sure. Usually what the requests look like is they request an inspection. Phil reaches out to the planning office to see if there are funds. And then we tell them whether the go-ahead is a green light or not. So this one is a little abnormal to the process of how we're handling it, but it sounds like we're all in the same boat here.
Good. So that appears to be covered. Any other business?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion to adjourn at 6:40 by Mr. Corbett, seconded by Mr. Baptiste. All in favor?
Mike Baptiste, aye.
Jane Gleason, aye.
Julie Moran, aye.
Sam Corbett, aye. Chair?